Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Evans Clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. And if you've ever found yourself taking things a bit too seriously and feeling a need to control too many different things, you might get some value from this hypnosis session. And it's all about releasing the need to control and more being rather than doing and going with the flow. And this particular client that I was working with had been like that when they were traveling and when they were younger, but in older age, pretty much 30s onwards, they felt that they had to be really serious and really structured and to take responsibility by controlling the variables. But that meant that they lost connection with that more go with the flow side of their personality. And this hypnosis session is designed to reactivate that part. And it uses metaphors like streams, horse riding, traveling to a part of the world in rural Colombia where they really felt that way. And it's all designed to reactivate this feeling of not needing to force things, but actually be guided into things. So if you can relate to, maybe you're a bit of a control freak and you have to kind of have things a certain way, and you've lost some element of just going with the flow and just being present with yourself, then you might get some value from this. Of course, some of the references are very unique to the client that I was working with. So if you do like the idea of working with me directly, have a look in the show notes or the description, and you will see a link to book a free 30-minute consultation call, and we can have a chat about working together. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel that wonderful feeling of release, as if any tension, stress, or worries are just leaving your body in your outward breath. When you breathe in for deeper and longer. And as you exhale, give permission to just let go. Not just of the outward breath, but any of these rigid, highly structured ideas and ways of being that just seem confining. Just allow them to leave your body. And as you scan your body for any clues of tension, every outward breath, allow a release. Perhaps tension in your forehead, your jaw, or around your eyelids. Just allow that release. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe, creating a wonderful feeling, not of trying to relax, but just being in this moment. allow yourself to just be. And as your physical body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine seeing water, perhaps in your own environment, water coming from a tap, a shower. But as you stare into the water, I want you to feel that it takes you back to a memory. And maybe that memory is being in a place, a particular town, a town there in Colombia, where you felt free, that you could go with the flow. And I want you to imagine seeing a stream in a valley there in San Agustin, there in the incredible hills and scenery of rural Colombia. And you might remember interesting stone statues in that town, or the way the trees go all the way up those mountains. But I want you to imagine being there by the water. As you see the water flowing through the valley, I want you to get a feeling that the water isn't trying to do anything. The water is just water, and the water can just flow. And there is a direction that that water flows in. It isn't chaos, but it isn't controlled. The water simply flows. And as you stare into the flowing water, I want you to feel that there is a part of you from your past that used to flow more, but has now become rigid. And I want you to think how easy it is for something fluid like water to become solid when it freezes. And I want you to imagine that part within you that already knows how to flow is like a frozen block of ice. And as you breathe in that warm Colombia air, I want you to imagine it thawing that part within you, the part that already knows how to trust the process, how to be, how to just go with the flow. So breathe in that warmth and feel it melting away anything that feels like it's confining your true nature. And maybe it was a phrase that thawed that free-flowing nature of yours. Maybe the word was responsibility, maturity, growing up, being an adult. But you already know that you can be responsible without needing to take control. You already know that you can set an intention and trust the process. and things work out fine. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel that rigidity melting away, and feel that you're giving yourself permission to flow once more. And I want you to imagine that stream or that river. Just imagine walking beside that water. And with each step that you imagine taking down the riverbank, you feel more grounded, more connected, yet also more free. And maybe you can hear the sound of the water trickling, or see the gentle movement of currents. But notice the way the river never forces itself. It simply flows. And as you continue to relax, it becomes easier to feel that same natural flow within yourself. Drifting, floating, flowing. And as you go deeper now, you can begin to recognize that in life, there are moments to act with intention, to steer the boat when needed. And there are also moments to simply let the river carry you. Moments where you can soften, and moments where you can allow, where you don't need to control everything and sometimes anything, because the river finds its way, always moving, always adjusting, and you too can find your way by letting go of everything that doesn't need to be held so tightly. And you may notice how empowering it feels to simply be. To feel, to connect, without having to do. And even when life flows in a direction you hadn't expected, I want you to feel that you can trust yourself, that you have the ability to figure it out, or just trust that something good will emerge from something that once seemed undesirable. And maybe you can recall a time where you were riding a horse. But if your grip is too tight, the horse gets uncomfortable. And isn't it interesting that by loosening your grip, by releasing the need to control, you actually discover a new kind of strength. The strength of trust, the strength of alignment, the strength of being guided by something greater than effort alone. And I wonder, when you're staring into the water, if you could imagine yourself in the days or weeks ahead, perhaps in a personal moment, the kind of situation where in the past you might have felt the urge to control, but instead see that future version of you smiling, looking relaxed, taking a breath. See that future version of you allowing yourself to be, and notice how that version of you seems to connect more deeply, to flow more freely, to be more mindful and present. And as you see that future version of you, imagine floating into that future version of you, no longer the observer. I want you to feel how it feels to mindfully and intentionally be rather than do, to relinquish that control, to trust the process, to feel empowered, not through control, but through mindfulness, acceptance, and just being. And I want you to imagine that right now in this moment, you are teaching your unconscious mind how natural it is to live with less doing and more being, less control and more trust. And when your unconscious really understands that, then it will be able to guide you to avoid any of the extremes, to steer you in the right direction, prompting you to control when it's useful to control, and accept and be when that's the right thing in that situation. And as you leave that future version of you, find yourself there back on the riverbank, there in the valley. And I want you to imagine, before we leave, you're going to wash something off from you. I want you to wash away a belief that you need to be responsible, and the responsibility has to be serious. You now know that isn't true. And I want you to imagine that old belief is like dirt on your skin. And just imagine going into the river and bathing all of that dirt and mud away, revealing what was always true before. Because you already knew how to be responsible without needing seriousness and control. And as you wash away what was added, you reveal what was already there. That it's fine to just be. And as you hold that thought, allow yourself to float back all the way to the here and now in this moment. But taking all of these changes, resources, and new ideas with you. Understanding that this has been a journey in your imagination. A journey of thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, and dreams within dreams. But now it's time to return. As I count from 1 to 10, you will feel that you're reconnecting and calibrating with the here and the now. And when I count to 10, you will awaken feeling that alignment and guidance and permission to just be. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button or follow button to make sure that you're automatically notified of any future episodes that I release. Also, by doing that, it lets the algorithm know that you like this show, and that will put it in front of even more people that might not know that this show exists. So that would be helpful for me. And if you like the stuff that I do, take a moment just to have a look in the show notes or the description, because there's lots of free things that I have to offer, including free hypnosis downloads without the intro or the outro like I'm doing now. So thank you again for joining me on today's episode, and I'll see you again soon for the next one.